The man who fell into the sky, Leo Carter, never believed in fate. He was just a mechanic on a space cargo ship, fixing broken engines and arguing with lazy crewmates. He liked simple things: coffee, music, and silence. But on that day, nothing was simple. The ship was shaking, red lights were flashing, smoke filled the air. "System failure," the captain shouted. "We're losing control." Leo ran to the emergency pod, coughing through the thick smoke. The ship was too close to a strange, glowing storm in space. The sensors went blind. The engines gave up. Leo didn't have time to think. The emergency pod launched without permission, sucked into the storm. Then everything went dark. He woke up lying on something cold and smooth. A marble floor. His head hurt. His ears rang. And something didn't feel right. He opened his eyes and gasped. He was not on his ship, not on any planet he knew. He was inside a giant hall, bigger than a football stadium, with high glass walls, floating lights, and thousands of silent, staring aliens. Yes, aliens. Blue, silver, red, tall, short, all dressed in glowing robes, sitting in rows, like an audience. In front of them stood a tall woman. Her skin shimmered like gold. Her hair floated like fire. She wore a crown of crystals and held a shining staff. She was about to be crowned. The coronation ceremony had already started. Music was playing. Priests were chanting in an alien language. And then Leo had crashed right into the center of it. The music stopped. The chanting died. All eyes turned to him. Leo sat up, confused and embarrassed. Hi?" Guards ran forward, pointing weapons at him. He raised his hands. "Wait, I didn't mean to," he said, but they didn't understand. The golden woman, the Empress-to-be, held up her hand. "Stop," she said. Her voice was calm, strong, and echoed through the hall. The guards stopped. The royal priest stepped forward. His long robes dragged on the floor. He stared at Leo. Then his eyes widened. He pointed to Leo's chest. "The mark?" he whispered. Leo looked down. There, glowing on his chest and just under his collarbone, was a strange blue symbol. It wasn't a tattoo. It looked like light, like it had been burned into his skin by magic or fire. The priest opened an ancient scroll and began to read aloud. His voice shook with fear and wonder. "In the time of fire and fall, a stranger shall break the sky. From flame he comes, marked by light, fated to bind with the Empress, and change the fate of the stars." The hall filled with whispers. Some aliens looked afraid, others looked angry. The Empress stared at Leo, her golden eyes locked onto his. "This is the sky stranger?" she asked. The priest nodded. "Yes, my Empress, the one from the prophecy." Leo blinked. "What prophecy? What are you talking about?" He stood up slowly. His legs were shaky. "Listen, I'm not part of anything. I'm just a mechanic. I don't even like crowds." The Empress stepped forward. She looked at him closely, as if trying to see something inside him. "You came from the storm," she said. "You carry the mark. You stopped the coronation." Leo scratched his head. "Yeah, sorry about that." More guards came, but this time they didn't attack. They surrounded him gently, like he was something rare or dangerous, or both. The Empress raised her staff. "Take him to the sacred chamber," she ordered. "He is not to be harmed." The guards nodded. Leo looked around. "Wait, can someone explain what's going on?" No one answered. As the guards led him away, the Empress watched him go. Her eyes were full of questions. And something else. Fear? Hope? The priest rolled up the scroll and turned to her. "If he is the one," he said, "then the future has already changed," the Empress whispered. "Or, the war has just begun." The prophecy and the prisoner. The sacred chamber was not a prison, but it felt like one. The walls were smooth and silver, no windows, only one door, guarded by silent soldiers. The lights hummed quietly, casting a soft blue glow over everything. It was beautiful, and it was a cage. Leo Carter sat on a floating bed, staring at his glowing chest mark in a mirror. "This has to be a dream," he whispered to himself. "Some messed up dream." But the pain in his ribs was real. The cold floor was real. And the mark, that pulsing symbol on his chest, was very real. Outside, the palace was in chaos. The coronation had been stopped. The royal scroll had spoken. The stranger from the sky had arrived, just like the prophecy warned. The royal advisors were furious. The nobles were divided. And the Empress Serenia was silent. For the first time in her life, she didn't know what to do. Inside the chamber, hours later, the door opened with a soft hiss. Leo jumped to his feet, ready to defend himself. But it wasn't a guard. It was, her, the Empress. She stepped inside, alone, dressed in a simple black robe, her crown gone. Leo stared. "You again. I still don't know what's going on." Serenia didn't speak right away. She walked slowly around the room, watching him like a scientist watching a strange animal. "You are not what I expected," she said. Leo folded his arms. "I get that a lot." She stopped in front of him. Her voice lowered. "That symbol, it only appears once in 10,000 cycles. It marks the bonded one. You are fated, by our oldest laws, Diurus, to marry me." Leo laughed once, bitter and confused. "That's insane. I don't even know your name." "Serenia," she said. "Empress of the Virexian Empire." "Nice to meet you, Empress. I'm Leo, from Earth. I fix engines. I don't do space weddings." Serenia's eyes narrowed. "You think I want this? My whole life was planned. The crown, the throne, the ceremony. And then you fell." They stared at each other in silence. Then she asked quietly, "Why now? Why you?" Leo sat back down, rubbing his face. "I don't know. I don't even believe in fate. This wasn't supposed to happen. I was supposed to be home in 2 days." Suddenly, the door burst open again. A royal priest entered, holding a glowing cube. "Forgive me, Empress. We must speak." He showed her the cube. A secret message was playing, a recording from a royal spy. "Assassins from House Zalthor are moving," the priest said. "They believe the prophecy is dangerous. They plan to kill the stranger before the second sign appears." Serenia clenched her jaw. "They think killing him will stop the future? They think killing him will control it." She turned to Leo. "You're in more danger than you know." Leo stood. "I've been in danger since I crashed here." "No," she said. "That was an accident. What comes next is war." That night, as the palace slept, shadows moved in silence. A cloaked figure crept through the halls with a knife made of dark crystal, a weapon that could kill even royalty. He reached the sacred chamber. The guards were gone. Inside, Leo was asleep. The assassin moved closer, quiet, careful. He raised the blade. Crack! Lightning exploded across the room. The assassin flew backwards, hitting the wall hard. Serenia stepped out of the shadows, her hands glowing with electric energy. "Did you think I wouldn't protect him?" The assassin tried to run, but guards stormed in and captured him. Leo sat up, shocked and breathing hard. What just happened?" Serenia looked at him. "You were almost murdered. Because of me. Because of a prophecy." He stood slowly, heart still racing. "I don't care about prophecies. But I don't like being hunted." Her voice was soft but firm. "Then maybe we protect each other." Meanwhile, in a secret chamber below the palace, a dark room, walls made of obsidian, one candle burning. A tall figure stood in front of a large screen watching the events. From above, his eyes were cold. His armor was sharp and black. He was General Varric, the Empress's old advisor, and now her greatest threat. He turned to a group of alien warlords. "The prophecy is unfolding," Varric said. "The stranger lives, he bonds with her already." A warlord hissed, "We should have killed him during the ceremony." Varric raised one finger. "No, if we kill him now, we prove the prophecy right. But if we turn him, if we break him..." He smiled darkly. "Then we rewrite destiny." Back in the sacred chamber, Leo stood near the window, looking out at stars he didn't recognize. Serenia stood beside him. "You can leave," she said. "Our scientists can fix your pod. Send you back to Earth." Leo didn't look at her. "And what happens if I stay?" Her voice was calm. "Then you become something more than a stranger. You become the spark that could end our empire, or save it." He looked down at the mark on his chest, still glowing softly. "I don't know why I'm here," he said. "But maybe it's not a mistake." Serenia's eyes locked onto his. "Then stay. Just a little longer." Outside, the stars moved slowly, but in the shadows, something dark was coming.
Assassination attempt. The palace halls were quiet, too quiet. Far above the main city on the floating sky throne, the wind howled like whispers of ghosts. Guards stood at every gate, every door, every balcony. But still, someone was coming. Not
With noise, not with fire, but with silence. Inside the sacred chamber, Leo couldn't sleep. He sat on the edge of his bed, looking at a glowing map of the stars Serenia had given him. They weren't Earth stars. They were foreign. Beautiful but lonely. He sighed. "I'm in a galaxy that doesn't want me. I'm bonded to a woman I barely know. And now people want me dead." He looked down at the mark on his chest. It was glowing again, but faintly flickering like it was warning him. That's when the lights in the chamber dimmed. He stood up. "Hello?" No answer. The guards outside didn't respond either. The silence was louder now. Leo backed away toward the wall. Then he saw it. A shadow moved behind him. Before he could scream, a hand clamped over his mouth. Another hand held a blade to his neck. The assassin spoke in a strange alien accent. No more prophecy, no more bond. But before the knife could cut, the wall behind them exploded. A hidden panel opened and Serenia burst in, surrounded by elite guards in black armor. Her hands crackled with light. "Do not touch him," she screamed. The assassin jumped back. Dodging a bolt of energy, he tossed a smoke bomb and vanished into the shadows. Now began the hunt. The palace went into lockdown. Doors sealed. Halls echoed with alarms. Red lights blinked like angry eyes. Serenia pulled Leo close. "Stay with me. He won't escape." "I thought this place was supposed to be safe," Leo shouted. She didn't answer. Her eyes were locked. Ahead, rage burned in them now. The assassin was fast, trained by a secret order that believed the prophecy was a lie, a tool of control. He moved through the vents, climbed walls, disappeared through shifting doors. But Serenia was faster. She knew the palace like a maze built in her own mind. She blocked his escape routes one by one. Finally, they cornered him in the ancient Hall of Memory, a place where royal ancestors were buried in crystal. The assassin turned, breathing hard. "You protect him like a mate." Serenia raised her. "And he is under my protection." "You would betray your bloodline for a human?" Serenia stepped forward. "If the stars chose him, I will not go against them." "You are a fool," the assassin said. Then he activated a bomb on his wrist. But before it exploded, Leo picked up a crystal shard from the floor and threw it like a dart. It struck the assassin's wrist, cutting the device. Guards tackled the assassin to the ground. Leo blinked. "I can't believe that worked." Serenia turned to him. "You saved us both." Leo breathed heavily. "Yeah, so, maybe next time, let's not stay in the prophecy suite." Later that night, the assassin was gone, dead by poison hidden in his teeth. But he left a message, carved into the wall of his cell. 1 dies, 1,000 rise. The prophecy is a lie. Serenia stared at the message. Her hands were trembling. Leo watched her. You okay? She didn't answer. Instead, she led him through a secret hallway deep inside the palace. At the end of the path was a sealed door. She pressed her hand to, though. It opened with a slow hiss. Inside was something Leo didn't expect. A massive ancient machine shaped like a giant ring. Wires, crystals, and alien markings covered its surface. What is this? Leo asked. Serenia whispered. This is the original bonding gate. It's how the first Empress chose her mate. The prophecy began here. She walked to the center. There's something you need to know, she said. Then she looked straight at him. You are not the first human to fall into our world. Leo's eyes widened. What? She nodded. 100 years ago, another human fell from the sky. But he died. Before the bond could complete. Leo stepped closer. Why didn't you tell me this? Because if the bond fails again, she said softly, my people will lose faith, and the empire may fall. Meanwhile, in the depths of the royal system, General Varric stood in a hidden base, staring at the stars through a warship window. One of his spies approached. The assassin failed. Varric didn't blink. I expected that. What about the mark? The stranger's bond is stabilizing. Varric smiled darkly. Good. Let him believe he's safe. Let the Empress fall in love. The spy frowned. You want them to bond? Yes, Varric said coldly. Because only then can I destroy them both in front of the galaxy. He turned away. We don't need to stop the prophecy. We just need to own its ending. Back in the palace, Leo stood at the edge of a balcony, watching alien birds fly over the glowing city. Serenia joined him. No more secrets, he said. She nodded. No more. Leo looked at her. I'm not ready to be anyone's fate, but I'm not running anymore either. She looked into his eyes. Then maybe we write a new prophecy together. But far above, in the sky, 3 enemy warships, activated cloaking shields, and on the horizon, a war began to move. Alien politics and human problems, what unites worlds can also tear them apart. A human voice echoes in alien halls, and not everyone is listening. Leo Carter had survived an assassination attempt, bonded with an alien empress, and somehow become the center of an ancient prophecy. But the next challenge wasn't made of knives or bombs. It was politics, and politics was war in slow motion. The palace council chamber was a giant circle of floating platforms, each one holding a leader from a noble alien house. Dozens of species, dozens of egos, and hundreds of secrets. Serenia stood at the center platform, dressed, in full royal armor now, silver robes layered with crystal armor across her shoulders. Beside her, Leo stood silent, wearing royal black. This was his first council session, and already, he hated it. One noble with red eyes shouted, "This outsider is a threat to our traditions." Another hissed, "He brings war, not peace. Already he draws assassins to our palace." An old alien woman, wise and quiet, finally asked, "Empress, is he truly your fated bond?" Serenia didn't hesitate. "He is," gasps echoed. Some whispered. Others raised their weapons in protest. Leo cleared his throat. "Can I speak?" All turned toward him. Silence. He stepped forward slowly. "Look, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask to fall through space and crash your fancy ceremony. I didn't ask to get this glowing thing stuck on my chest." He touched the mark. It flickered softly. "But I'm here now. And I know this much. If you all keep fighting over prophecies and bloodlines, someone else is going to make the decisions for you." He pointed toward the sky. "There's a war coming. I saw it in your Empress's eyes. I saw it in the man who tried to kill me, and I'm willing to help stop it. But I'm not your enemy." He paused. "I'm just the guy who fell in at the wrong time, or maybe the right one." The room was still. Then a voice called out from above. "He speaks with courage," another added, "or stupidity." A ripple of uneasy laughter followed. Serenia looked at Leo. A small smile formed. Not royal, not political, just human. Later, Leo wandered through the public gardens escorted by a small drone. Alien children played nearby, watched by cautious parents. Whispers followed him everywhere now. That's him. The human. The sky stranger. A little alien girl with green skin approached him and tugged on his robe. "You talk funny," she said. Leo knelt down. "You do too," she giggled. "Are you really going to marry the Empress?" Leo smiled. "That's complicated." She tilted her head. "You should. She looks lonely." Before he could answer, an explosion shook the ground. Smoke rose from the western tower. Screams filled the air. Leo ran toward the blast. The tower burned. It was the House of Lore, keepers of ancient records. Flames roared through the scroll vaults. Dozens were hurt. Sabotage, another warning. And this time the enemy left a message burned into the floor in alien script. "No human shall sit on the Star Throne." Serenia called a war meeting that night. Leo stood behind her as generals, spies, and tech officers brought dark news. "3 noble houses are quietly arming," said one. "They believe your bond weakens the throne." Another added, "General Varric is gaining support in the outer worlds." A third whispered, "Some say, you've lost the blessing of the stars." Serenia slammed her hand on the table. "Enough. I will not let fear decide our future." Leo stepped beside her. "Then let's give them something else to believe." And he looked around the room. "Let me speak to the people, not nobles, not priests, just the people." The next day, Leo stood on a high platform in the city's center. Cameras floated around him. Billions watched across the empire. His voice was broadcast in every known language. "I am not your hero," he began. "I'm not chosen. I'm not perfect." He held up his hand, showing the mark. "But I've seen what's coming. And I know fear when I see it." He pointed at the sky. "There are people, powerful people, who want you to be afraid. They want you to hide, fight, and destroy anyone who's different." He took a deep breath. "Don't let them. I came from a world that's messy, broken, but still fights to do better. If this empire wants peace, we have to fight for it together. I don't want to rule you. I want to stand with you." Then, in a move that shocked everyone, Leo knelt. Not as a king, but as your ally. The city held its breath. Then someone clapped. Then another, and then thousands. But far away, General Varric watched the speech from a warship. A young officer asked, "Should we act now?" Varric smiled. "No. Let him believe he's winning. The more hope they feel, the harder it will break." He turned to a dark screen, showing blueprints. "The human's bond is not complete. When it is, we'll strike." He pointed to the final weapon. Project Eclipse. Back in the palace, Serenia and Leo sat quietly in her chamber. "You changed the minds of millions today," she said softly. Leo looked tired. "I just told the truth." Serenia reached out and touched his hand. "You are not what I expected." He looked at her. "Neither are you." Their hands remained together. Outside, the city lights flickered like stars, but one star above them blinked unnaturally. A signal, a trap, and no one saw it. Yet. Escape from the Royal Moon Trust is fragile in a galaxy ruled by fear, and when the stars themselves begin to lie, escape may be the only truth left. The message came at midnight, a coded signal, old, encrypted, buried deep in the palace servers. It came from a name Serenia hadn't heard in years. Safe haven. Coordinates, Moon of Trilos, come alone. Only 2 people in the Empire knew that code. One of them was dead, or at least, supposed to be. Serenia stared at the glowing text. Her face showed nothing, but her hands trembled. By morning the palace was sealed off again. Another bombing had been stopped just in time, but the conspirators had vanished. The enemy was growing smarter, faster, closer. Leo was standing in the gardens when Serenia came to him. "We have to leave," she said. "Now." Leo blinked. "Leave the palace?" "Leave the planet." "Why?" She didn't answer. She just whispered, "Because someone I trusted is either alive, or someone else wants me to think so. Either way, it's a trap. But it may be the only place left where we'll find the truth." Hours later, their small stealth ship left the capital under false codes. Only Serenia, Leo, and 2 elite guards were aboard. Their destination, Trelos, a long-abandoned royal moon, once used for secret experiments and exile. Now, it was quiet, forgotten, perfect for ambush or escape. The ship landed in a narrow canyon of dark silver rock. Above them, the sky burned purple. Gas storms howled across the craters. Leo stepped out cautiously. "Feels like a place where bad things happened." Serenia replied, "They did." They moved into the ruins of a once grand structure, the Sanctum of Memory, a former research site turned tomb. Inside, shadows danced along broken glass and shattered columns. One of the guards checked the scanner. "No life signs, we're alone." Serenia shook her head. "That's not possible. The message came from here." Leo wandered into a side room, scanning old data panels. Something caught his eye, a sealed medical pod, still powered, still active. He touched the panel. A name flashed. Serenia Virex, bloodline analysis, degenerative phase 3. He froze. "Serenia," he called, voice tight. "Come here." She entered the room and saw what he was pointing at. The silence between them grew heavy. Leo turned to her. "What is this?" She didn't look away this time. "It's my truth," she said, "and it's killing me." She explained everything. The royal bloodline carried a genetic curse, a disease that began slowly, then accelerated with age. Most empresses never lived past 40. Only the bond ritual with the fated mate could slow or stop it. She had hidden it. From everyone. Because if the empire knew she was dying, it would collapse. Leo sat down slowly, trying to process it. So, the prophecy, the bond, all of it. It's not just about fate. It's about survival. Serenia nodded. "I didn't choose you because I was desperate. I chose you because the prophecy lit up when you arrived. But yes, now my time is running out." She leaned against the cold metal wall. "I didn't want to trap you in my death." Leo looked at her, something shifting in his eyes. "You didn't trap me. You saved me." "Maybe. Now it's my turn." But their quiet moment didn't last. The trap was already closing. Outside, their ship exploded, torn apart by a precision strike. The guards died instantly. Leo and Serenia were thrown back by the shockwave. From the cliffs above, black armored soldiers descended like shadows, General Varick's strike team. Leo grabbed a fallen blaster and fired wildly. "Run!" he shouted to Serenia. She activated a force shield and dragged him behind cover. "We're surrounded," she said. Leo grinned. "You always say that like it's bad news." They fought their way into the lower levels of the ruins, a maze of tunnels and collapsing corridors. The deeper they went, the stranger things became. They found holograms of past empresses, locked in endless loops of regret, broken machines that whispered in ancient tongues, echoes of failed bondings, skeletons in cracked pods. Trelos wasn't just a tomb, it was a warning, a place where the prophecy had failed before. In the deepest chamber they found something impossible, a living prisoner, frozen in cryostasis. Human. Leo touched the pod. Name appeared. Elias Carter, his brother, dead for 12 years. Leo collapsed to his knees. This can't be real. Serenia stepped back, stunned. You said you had no family. I thought I didn't, Leo whispered. He disappeared during a space mission. They told us he was gone, lost forever. She scanned the pod. He's in stasis, deep, near death, but still alive. Leo stood up, something hard in his eyes now. Varric knew. He kept him here, used him. He looked at Serenia. This isn't just about the prophecy anymore. Outside, Varric's voice echoed through the ruins via drone transmission. You found him, didn't you? Leo raised his head. You bastard, Varric chuckled. Your brother was the first chosen. He failed the bond. The Empress before Serenia died in that chamber. And now, it's your turn. Leo stepped forward, glaring at the sky. You think I'm afraid of you now? Varric's tone grew darker. No, I think you're just like him. Weak and easily broken. Leo carries his brother's pod out of the ruins. Serenia walks beside him, bleeding, weak, but alive. The moon shakes as Varric's warship appears overhead. Leo stares up at it. He's not running. He's done running. And for the first time, the mark on his chest glows brighter than ever before. The betrayal of the stars, what breaks a hero, is not always war. Sometimes it's the one standing right beside him. The rescue team arrived 17 hours after the ambush on Trelos. Serenia was unconscious. Leo carried her in his arms, her breathing shallow. Blood stained his shirt. The mark on his chest had faded, as if it was mourning with him. His brother, Elias, remained sealed in the stasis pod, silent, untouched by time. A ghost trapped in glass. They returned not to the Palace Ondor, but to Sanctum 12, a hidden medical base deep beneath the capital moon. Safe, isolated, secure, or so they thought. 3 days passed. Serenia woke slowly, her body weak, her mind fogged by painkillers and royal nanobots. Leo stayed by her side every minute she touched his hand. I thought we were dead. You almost were, Leo whispered. But I'm not letting you go. Not like this. Her voice cracked. You still have a choice. Leo shook his head. Not anymore. I saw what Varric did to my brother. I know now what this prophecy really means. He's not trying to stop it. He's trying to rewrite it, with blood. But as they recovered, something darker moved in the shadows. A man named Commander Wren, one of Leo's closest allies since his arrival, walked the halls of Sanctum 12 with a calm face and a cold secret. He had been loyal, friendly, trustworthy, but he was also Varric's spy, planted months ago, waiting for the bond to reach its peak, before tearing it apart from the inside. Night fell on Sanctum 12. Leo stood alone in the observation dome, watching stars drift by. His brother's pod sat in the corner, humming softly. Elias's face hadn't aged. He looked peaceful, as if still dreaming. A memory came back to Leo, the last time he saw Elias laughing in their old garage on Earth, promising to return from his mission. He never did. Leo clenched his fist. I'm going to bring you back, he whispered. I don't care what it costs. That's when Wren appeared. Still awake? Wren asked casually. Leo nodded. Can't sleep. Too much spinning in my head. Wren walked up beside him. You've changed, you know. You used to hate this place. Leo smirked. Still do. But I hate losing more. Wren smiled. But there was something wrong in his eyes. Do you trust me, Leo? The question hit hard. Sudden. Heavy. Leo hesitated. Why would you ask that? Wren's hand reached for something under his coat. Too late, he pressed a small button. A soft beep echoed through the room, and behind them, Elias's pod exploded. The shockwave knocked Leo across the floor. The smoke choked him. The glass ripped into his skin. He crawled through fire and sparks. Elias. But there was nothing left. Only ash. Only silence. Wren stood calmly, untouched. You weren't supposed to survive Tralos, he said. But now I've done what needed to be done. Leo stared at him. Why? Ren's face hardened. Because you were never the prophecy. You were just the decoy. Varric's plan was never to stop the bond. It was to force it, to make Serenia desperate enough to complete it with you. He stepped closer. And then kill you both once the Empire believed in the lie. Leo growled. You betrayed everything. I saved the future, Ren said. You just don't know it yet. He raised his weapon. But this time, Leo was faster. With a burst of pure rage, Leo slammed into him, knocking the gun aside. They crashed through the observation window into a lower level. Glass, blood, fire, fists. Leo fought with something more than strength. He fought with grief. When it was over, Ren lay unconscious, or dead. Leo didn't care, but everything else was broken. The next day, Serenia stood beside Leo as the remains of Elias's pod were buried in a quiet chamber of the moon. No ceremony, no words, just sorrow. I'm sorry, she whispered. Leo didn't answer. His face was stone. She touched his hand. He didn't pull away, but he didn't hold her back either. Later, in the war room, Serenia addressed her final council. Varric has declared war, she said. His fleet moves toward the core systems. If he reaches the Star Throne, this empire will burn. She turned to Leo. He stood taller now, sharper, harder. But something in his eyes had changed. Not just pain, purpose. We fight now, Leo said. We fight not for thrones or prophecies. We fight because they took everything. He looked around the room. And I will not lose again. Far above, in orbit. Varric watched the battle maps. A captain approached. Sanctum 12 was compromised. The brother is dead, but Leo survived. Varric nodded. Good, let him rise, let him burn brighter than anyone. He turned, revealing his secret weapon. A new artificial bond core. A machine built to fake the ritual, to steal the Empress's power, and rewrite the prophecy under Varric's name. Let him think he's the hero, Varric said, so I can be the god. Back on the moon, Serenia stood on the roof of the temple, watching Leo alone in the distance. The mark on his chest was glowing again. But now, it glowed like fire. The bond was awakening fully. But with it came something else. A cost. Because the next time he used it, something human inside him might not survive. The bond of fire and sky, some destinies are chosen, some are forced. But the rarest of all are earned through fire. The stars above the Varexian homeworld turned red, not because of any natural event, but because war had arrived. General Varric's fleet was no longer hiding. 1,000 ships, cloaked in shadow tech, now burned across the skies in open rebellion. Every capital system fell into panic. Cities lost power. Communications jammed. In orbit, Varric's flagship, the Eclipse Throne, hovered like a god's sword ready to fall. He wasn't just attacking a planet. He was coming for the crown. In the Sanctum Tower, Leo Carter stood at the window, watching the sky bleed fire. His breath fogged the glass. His eyes were colder now, focused. Behind him, Serenia entered the room dressed in full Empress battle armor, the old kind, not the polished robes of politics, real armor, worn by warriors. I've called the fleet, she said. Leo didn't move. Will they come? She hesitated. Some will. That won't be enough. She walked up beside him. No, but we have something they don't. Leo looked at her, the glow from his chest mark now burning through his shirt like a sun beneath his skin. He said nothing. She took his hand, and together, they walked to the bonding chamber. The ritual began. The chamber was ancient, a circle of floating stones and lights that hummed in time with the stars. They stood in the center, hand in hand. A priest recited the final lines of the prophecy. When flame meets crown and stranger meets star, their bond shall rise, or end all. The fight, air cracked with light. Leo screamed, but not from pain. From transformation. The mark on his chest expanded, spreading through his veins like molten light. Serenya's body began to glow too, energy arcing between them like a storm. The ritual was not just symbolic. It was a fusion of power, memory, pain and destiny, and then silence. When it was done, they stood in the center, still breathing. But something had changed. Leo was, or his body hummed with energy, not meant for a human. And Serenya's eyes were no longer golden. They were a deep, endless white, as if she had seen the end of time and returned. The Empress and her bondmate walked onto the command deck. Leo looked at the generals. Let's finish this. The battle for the Virexian throne began. The capital skies lit up with ships firing across cities. Leo and Serenya's fleet, smaller but united, rose from hidden bases, jumping straight into battle. Inside his fighter, Leo took command of a squadron. He didn't just fly, he burned through space. The bond had given him more than strength. It gave him instinct, connection. He felt every ship in the fleet, and they followed him. But on the Eclipse throne, Varric stood before his final weapon, a device powered by the stolen bond core linked to the false prophecy. It would allow him to take control of Serenya's power, rewrite memory, and become the eternal ruler of all systems. She completed the bond, one of his scientists said. They're stronger than expected. Varric smiled. So are we. He activated the rewrite protocol. Across the Empire, visions began to flicker in citizens' minds. False dreams. Fake prophecies. A lie broadcast into every mind. The Empress is dead. Varric is your savior. But Leo wasn't fooled. He broke into the Eclipse throne with a ground team, blasting through doors, racing toward the control center. The final confrontation. Varric waited in a dark chamber lined with mirrors, illusions, and machines. Serenya and Leo entered together. The three stood in silence. Varric looked at them. You look powerful. Serenya raised her blade. You look old. He laughed. I offered peace. You chose ruin. Leo stepped forward. You tortured my brother. You tried to rewrite fate. Varric's face darkened. Because fate is a tool. Only fools believe it's sacred. Then he activated the bond core. The chamber exploded with energy, and the fight began. Battle of gods. Varric moved like lightning, powered by artificial bond energy. But Leo had something different. He had earned his power. Through loss, through truth. He matched every strike, blade against blade, light against shadow. Meanwhile, Serenya climbed the central tower to shut down the broadcast protocol. Fire rained around her. Drones attacked. She moved through them like a force of nature. At the bottom, Leo began to lose. Varric pinned him. Your bond is love, Varric said. Mine is conquest, you can't win. But Leo smiled, blood dripping from his mouth. You're wrong. He touched his mark and released everything. A final burst of energy, not from hate, but memory. His brother, the Empress, the people, the little alien girl in the garden. It all exploded in a flash of light that shattered the bond core. Varric screamed, then fell. Silence. The ship went dark. The fake prophecy died, and in the sky above, the red haze cleared. Weeks later, the war was over. Varric's army had fallen without their leader. The people began to rebuild, relearn the truth. In a public ceremony, Leo stood before the people of the Virexian Empire. Serenya beside him. He didn't wear a crown. He wore his old earth jacket, patched and burned. He raised one hand. I am not your king, he said. I am not your savior. I'm just the man who fell from the sky. But now, I choose to stay. Cheers echoed. The prophecy had ended. But the story had just begun. Final scene. In a quiet garden, Leo plants a small tree, a mix of earth, oak and Virexian crystal root. New roots, he says. Serenia smiles. New stars. And somewhere far above, a new prophecy begins to write itself.